Bro, listen to this. For an artist like Kwesi Arthur to make £98,000 over his 6 years career with all the hits that he has and all the shows that he's played and all the branding that is made, it's telling, bro. It doesn't make any sense to me. £98,000, bro. That is about 130, $140,000. So, anyone, I don't make we speak about or talk about something that recently trended on the internet. Massive trend, by the way. In the case of Kwesi Arthur and his management, Buhaha or Wahala, that recently took place. And I decided to take my time and kind of, listen, pay attention, read, and research more about the situation. And I think the reason why I didn't jump on it right away was because I was patiently waiting for a response from the management, which they've done quite in detail, explain themselves on the Street is Watching show with DJ Slim. And I just had to banter the two sides, right? With Kosiata releasing his statement and then GroundUp lawyer also coming up to also explain their side of the story. I really want to take it from a different perspective of, in a broader sense of things, how record labels in Ghana, with their interaction or with their signed artists, the crisis that has been going on for quite a while. And I know that most of the time it's been the machine, which is the record labels that usually, come out and say certain things. And it looks like majority of the industry are taking, more like and a more agreement with the record label side of things. And, with even with the interview that went on, I currently watched the one with Black Sheriff's manager after the judgment came out concerning their case. And then this one also. And I remember quietly how um, DJ Slim and MC Portfolio and the other woman on there, even the management or Wayne Chavez, the former manager of Black Sheriff, even said about, investing in artists in Ghana, which to a certain extent, I agree to a very, very, very high extent to I do not agree. This is why I'm saying this. Before I get back to the Kwesiata issue, I think it's our time we give the artist some credit. Like I said, I'm taking from a very different perspective of things, right? Um, the reoccurring of management artist fallout has been quite rampant over the years. Talking from Stoneboy and his record label with how do we call it, with Kelvin Boy, dating back to who else. Majority record labels that are signed artists and it didn't work, right? And I think most of the time it has become the culture of if you are a young artist and you get a record label, once you blow or once you start to get some traction, they tend to, find their way and find their management and all that and all that. I get that. But have we all also tried to think it from the artist perspective of things? Right. It can't be coincident that artists are usually or almost always disputing something with their management in order to get out, or they might have some certain level of issues with their management and then they will go out, right? Obviously, we don't get to see or we don't get to hear. We usually hear both sides of the things, but there's always two sides of a situation and there's always the truth, right? And the truth might not come from this because everybody and their own truth. So we just have to rely on the information from this side and that side to be able to make a judgment for ourselves. However, the way I'm thinking about it is it can be coincident that Ghanaian artists usually have issues with record labels or management, especially the new ones that are coming and they are assigned to new management. See, I've come to realize that most management most artist management companies, I'm not even going to call them record labels because record labels need a huge machine behind their back to even do anything, right? most management services, or for artists management services or companies, tend to really not have the knowledge or the technical know-how to operate in certain areas. And most of the time, I believe strongly it goes down to contract. So how about you be fair in your contract? It's as simple as that. Now let's talk about Kwesi Arthur and his management issue. But before then, I'm going to read certain parts of the contract, right? So that you can see where I'm coming from and how I'm targeting these things from, right? Now, let me take this one. Kwesi Arthur said that GroundUp claims to own me, my image, my music, and everything attached to it from 2016 to this day. Now, mind you, Kwesi Arthur literally dropped a press release, right? And I believe that there's so much more to the press release that is not out, that we can basically judge everything based on the things that he wrote or he published. Which I believe that this particular release is full of emotions, right? It's an emotional press release. It doesn't really technically target the issue at hand. And that's why I'm saying that, GroundUp had the chance and they took it. They came online and granted an interview and literally spelled a lot of details about this whole issue. And I don't fully believe it 100%, not even 80 or not even 70. I think maybe I'm at the 40, 50 range, because I believe that I haven't really heard in detail the side of Kwesi Arthurs, right? So I don't think anybody should use that to judge him at this point, right? So, like I said, he made an emotional decision to release a press statement to be able to tackle whatever that is going on in the background. And we all know that Kwesi hasn't been able to release music for a while now because he signed a contract that is still binding, right? Now, I've watched um, the video from the GroundUp lawyer with DJ Slim over and over and over and over again. And I'm going to put in some timestamps or some video short clips in there to be able for us to be able to carry the conversation that we are having. All right. Now, in the interview, the lawyer stated that Kwesi Arthur signed a 4-year deal, right, in 2016. Okay, 2016, 2017, I believe, if I'm right.
Kwesi entered into a contract with GroundUp Chale in 2017. It was a 4-year contract.
Okay.
It was renewable for 2 years.
Okay.
After the end of the 4 years.
Okay.
That 4 years ended in 2021.
Okay.
Now, mind you, the agreement with Platoon, who were the distributors for Son of Jacob, which was the last work that was put out, was signed in 2020.
Okay.
So the renewal kicked in, and the team kept working throughout the renewal period. And that is how come Son of Jacob came out in 2022.
Yeah.
Now, so the contract was supposed to run for the 4-year term. And then after the contract has ended, it was eligible to extend additional 2 years. I think that's what he said. So technically, the contract is 6 years now. So from 2016 down to 2022, that's when their contract was supposed to end. Now, whatever clause that was put in the contract, I don't know if Kwesi read it. He gave it to a lawyer for the lawyer to go through, or as of that point, as any passionate musician on the come up, will want their works out there and for them to be able to express themselves and release music and be happy with whatever that they're doing. He was being taken advantage of. Probably maybe he looked through or even sent to his dad for his dad to go through, and they didn't really get a proper lawyer to look through, because music contract has terminologies that are not mere words, that have ambiguous, explanations to them. So if you don't get a proper lawyer to look through, it's going to be a problem. Now, fast forward, the contract has been signed, and then when the 4-year term ended, was somewhere in 2020, 2021, Kwesi Arthur decided to enter into a 2-year extension deal with GroundUp again, making it 6 years. Now, this is where things kind of baffles me a little bit. You see, Kwesi Arthur also made a claim that I have not made a dime from any of my music within the period I worked with them for years. That's referring to GroundUp, and received constant stress and manipulation from Glenn, who is living off my money and then hard work. Which is a very, very, very strong statement, I believe. Very, very strong statement. But make I jog your mind small. You see, for an artist to say somebody living off my money and hard work and hasn't make a dime is a bold statement. Of course, their lawyer brought, email evidence, right, of payouts and stuff like that to Kwesi.
But is it true that he never received a dime?
Yes, so I mean, and that's what I'm coming to, because at the end of the day, the contractual terms were agreed to.
Yes.
Recoupments were made and payments were made. So it's rather shocking. It's rather shocking to see Kwesi say that I've never received a dime. And again, we don't just speak out of our mouths. We speak, evidence is the name of the game. I forwarded to you email chains.
Yes.
Okay. Email chains, including there's an email chain where you even see Kwesi sends an invoice and Glenn sends a link,
yes,
to the payment.
Yes.
And Kwesi says, I've received payment.
I confirm receipt.
Which I don't think is substantiated, because it might not be, money from royalties, because I know he showed some receipts of some emails with Kwesi acknowledging receipts of some money and stuff like that. For all you know, it could be a brand deal money, it could be a show money, it could be anything apart from his actual streaming income, right? And it can also be his streaming income as well, his royalties as well. Nobody knows. But for an artist to make a bold statement in that manner, to suggest that he literally haven't made any money from his music since 2016, it's serious. And I understand that sometimes when industry is talking about these things, they don't want to step on toes because they have friends that are connected to this and connected to that. So they are careful about what they say and they act a certain way. And I saw that reaction from DJ Slim. Because I believe that, I don't know if there's any type of relationship with DJ Slim and Glenn, but I felt like there were certain questions that he should have asked in a way to probe more. And maybe, he didn't know Kwesi Arthur's side, which I believe he should, so that he'll be able to make certain comparisons and be able to also, say something and basically bridge the two of the conversations together to make it make sense, right? Like I said, there are receipts of payment that had been issued to Kwesi Arthur. But DJ Slim and I know that monies that has to do with management can come from anywhere. Like I said, it can come from shit, can come from brand deals, can come from streaming or royalties or whatnot, right? So that question should have been asked. And that mail didn't specify what the money was for. Anyways, he's talking about not making a dime, so it will make sense not to, ask questions, right? But for an artist to make over $98,000 over his 6-year career with a label is telling.
I forwarded to you.
Yeah.
You see where Glenn talks about the fact that payments up to about 98,000 pounds
Yes.
has been distributed to Kwesi.
Glenn writes to Kwesi saying that and detailing the amount of money Kwesi has benefited from working with GroundUp. That stays over 91,370 pounds has been distributed to Kwesi as royalties. And I would like to read that one, part of that one quickly. It says, "Hi Kwesi, I find this concerning."
Bro, listen to this. For an artist like Kwesi Arthur to make 98,000 pounds over his 6 years career with all the hits that he has and all the shows that he's played and all the branding that is made, it's telling, bro. It doesn't make any sense to me. £98,000, bro. That is about $140,000. Bro, Shatta just sold his catalog for 3 million. It's crazy, bro. Just think about it. It's crazy. So I believe it when he says he hasn't made a dime, because I believe he's actually made so much money that regardless of the contract and the percentage split, as you know, reported by the lawyer, which is 60-40 between the years of 2016 and 2020 or 2021, was 60-40, and they had actually recouped all their money. And then the next split of the 2-year the extended contract was 50-50, right? Even with that percentage, Kwesi Arthur should be making more. And I believe that whether they have signed, they sent accounting records on a yearly basis or whatever, bro, if you know you are being cheated on, or we are cheating you, you know you are being cheated on, bro. Because it doesn't make any sense unless maybe there's other extra money somewhere that has been paid to Kwesi Arthur and we don't know about, or it wasn't accounted for by the lawyer. I don't know, but we are working with what he provided because he's sick to provide evidence to support their claim and whatever that was transpiring, right? Bro, £98,000 for a 6-year term with all the hits that he has, with all the influence that he has. That is mind-boggling, bro. That is mind-boggling. That is insane. And that I do not understand. So I actually believe, listen to this, that I actually believe it when your hard work has made so much money and you have received so little, it makes it feel like you haven't made a dime. Bro, because £98,000 over the course of 6 years, bro, that is about what? Let me do something. Let me do some calculation here. I'm going to do some calculation here and even split it yearly. So £98,000, maybe I'm sure there were a few hundreds on it, divided by 6. That is £16,333, which is well over 20,000 Ghana cedis a year. Bro, are you listening to this? That is 16,333.3 pounds, right? A year, which translates to about 20,000 Ghana cedis a year. A whole Kwesi Arthur. When he said, with all the hit songs, so it make well over 20,000 Ghana cedis a year. Bro, they are buying Juma for almost 20,000 Ghana cedis a month, bro. There are Uber drivers that are making a bag of 20,000 Ghana cedis a month. So, like, I don't know if you actually understand this whole thing. That's why I believe that Kwesi Arthur might have made an emotional statement or released a press that I believe was an emotional one. They didn't cover technical aspect of the whole thing. But obviously that was going to come out anyway because I knew definitely like they were going to batter. But I actually believe why Kwesi Arthur is angry and decided to, take distribution money of extra $118,000 from them without informing that, because he believes he deserves it. Because if you have been cheated for so long, bro, you deserve whatever you do. At this point, I don't think he cared. I don't think he gave a flying, I don't want to use the word F, but he didn't give a hoot of him getting or using his images back then for his album. That's why he didn't even respond to any of the emails. And bro, I'm not backing him because he made a colossal mistake of not going through the contracts properly and renegotiating properly. I mean, you are in a contract for 4 years, bro. If something is going wrong, there's always a clause in the contract that gives you the chance to amend the contract and make changes to the contract. You could have done that. Kwesi, you could have done that and you didn't. And I don't think any contract that is void of an amendment clause in the contract, bro, I don't know if it's a valid contract or not, but I think that would be a crazy thing to do. And if that was done and he didn't have the chance to amend his contract at any point in time, then that's crazy, bro. Then Glenn really, really messed this guy up. But at the end of the day, he's a businessman. He's trying to make money, bro. So he's going to do things to his favor. But if they started as brothers and decided to do this thing there, bro, then Glenn, try. Really, try. Try give the boys. And within you that you might have messed with the boys. So allow the boy to use whatever that he wants to use, bro. Don't hold him. Bro, don't hold him because me listening with all the accounting details in the email that was sent and all that thing, and you are talking about a total of 98,000 pounds over the course of disbursement that Kwesi Arthur has actually received. 98,000 pounds, bro, is crazy. It's no money. And you've been making a bag of this boy. So I'm not being biased about this whole shit, this whole ish. Pardon my language. But bro, Kwesi, you should have looked in the contract, let somebody look at it and be able to, get yourself out of this mess. You could have prevented all this thing from happening. But of course, like I said, Glenn is a businessman. He's trying to, make money. So obviously he's going to do things that can make him money. But if you were brothers and he decided to give you a contract that was going to mess you up in the long run, bro, try. So yeah, Kwesi Arthur made an emotional decision to bring something out without any backing or any evidential backing. And then somebody brought it, but I don't think that somebody brought enough evidence to properly sway the conversation. Like I said, I took it from a different perspective of artist management, issues or crisis in Ghana. And I believe that most of these management or artist management companies, they are greedy, bro. They want to blow because they can literally, if an artist blow, you can literally, if you manage things well, can be able to recoup all your money in a year. The rest is, but the investment, of course, you want to make money, that's why you're in it. But bro, don't be too greedy. And I believe that that's the reason why some of the artists, when they get into these contracts and they blew, and they later found out that their fame is not matching their money, they tend to bow out and they tend to cause or stir issues where it would force them to be independent or get out. And then at the end of the day, the conversation comes up again. And the conversation becomes artists are ungrateful and do not invest in artists in Ghana, which I believe is BS anyway, because it has worked for some people and it hasn't worked for some. So yeah, this is where I will end this editorial, as DJ Slim will call it. But yeah, Charlie, stay safe out there. And if you are a young artist that is coming up and you want to sign to a label or any artist management company or any investor, make sure that you look through the contracts, you go through it, take your time, find somebody, find a lawyer. Right now, there's ChatGPT. You can load it in ChatGPT to let ChatGPT explain it to you in plain, simple, very, very layman's English so that you can actually understand it, bro. And once you have that understanding, you let a lawyer also look through and then, basically get the right deal for you. And always keep it at the back of your mind that every contract has an amendment clause or has a clause that can help you change certain things in a contract at any given point in time. So make sure that when you find something that is not going on well with you, you try to do that. If there's no resolute, you obligate the contract and you go your separate ways, right? But I'm sure two people who are willing to work together can always have or find a solution to a problem. Stay safe and be safe. I'll catch you on the next one. Yeah.